Hi, everybody. Okay, so we are at day 1,857 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room and his life was taken. We have September 2nd, 2025. We're burning the midnight oil. We hope everyone had a great Labor Day. Um, really busy with all the news and all the information that's coming out, especially, because of A&R Chavira Auto Group. I want to make it very clear that it has been confirmed that Alex Chavira, the owner of A&R Chavira Auto Group, is the nephew of Manuel Chavira. Manuel Chavira, the chief of police, the rogue chief of police for the El Paso ISD. He was given that position right after, just days after the Walmart mass shooting. He was given that position without having a peace officer's license. There are tunnels underneath El Paso Independent School District schools that are right on the border that are being used for up to no good. And you know what that means with of course, Manuel Chavira having very family ties to cartel individuals such as leaders like Moya, like Willie Moya, and like Arturo Alba, who both of those, their lives were ended also, very much like the German national in the Walmart mass shooting case, Alexander Gerhard Hofmann wrote, and of course, Maria Eugenia, who also died by the same manner. These are professional headshots. And, these seem to all be tied, okay, all tied together. This absolutely puts this cartel activity within all of this Walmart mass shooting, cartel activity, all within silencing Richard because of his reporting on the criminal trafficking. But really, when you put all of the evidence together, it's for also what he knew about the Walmart mass shooting. Okay, because that was directly. Let's see if everything is working. Because I am. There it is. Oh, good. Everything's working. And the camera might be a little off. A little bit different place tonight, a little bit different place. So, but that's okay. We never stop. Um, we are absolutely energized because everything is coming together, and we're really happy that Marco Rubio is going to Mexico today. Today. Um, he is absolutely, he's probably sleep. I don't know if he's sleeping. He has 3 or 4 jobs, he says. Maybe he has more than that. He said he really appreciates Labor Day because he has so many jobs. He wears so many hats. And so he's probably burning the midnight oil also, and then getting on a plane to go to Mexico to talk to Scheinbaum, to, and it's I hope he has a lot of bodyguards, right? A lot of security around him, because even in the Mexican Senate, uh, there is some violence going on, right? Pushing, shoving, hitting, and I want to say that watching what happened in the Senate, if you don't know what happened in the Mexican Senate, um, uh, 2 parties, one party that's aligned with the PAN party, the PRI party. And of course, the PAN party is the the narco body, rotting body dumping ground, plenitude crematorium party. Okay. That's, if you want dead bodies to be trafficked all around to different funeral homes so that they can cash in on taxpayer funds, the PAN party is for you. The PRI party is for you. Because if they're willing to traffic that, then of course they're willing to traffic everything, right? It is a total corrupt party. Uh, and the other party, look, Mexico is a narco state. It's a narco state. I don't think that you could be in the Mexican Senate without, uh, well, you can imagine. You can imagine. I don't have to tell anybody. But I can say this that uh, what was seen in the Mexican Senate of the pushing and the shoving, uh, you know, at this stage of 5 years, I'm just going to give you our opinion of it. We don't know if we're right, but this is our experience in these 5 years with this kind of watching this kind of stuff. I would say that it was absolutely an upside down show to put on record that the Pan Party wanted something on record, okay, against this other party. Um, the way the news is covering it, that it you have to remember you have to turn things upside down because the news media is not on our side. They're not going to give us the truth, and it's upside down. And we know that the Pan Party is not, really wanting the Trump administration to come in there and help them overcome um, the drug dealer cartels, right? We know because right now they are absolutely panicking. They're absolutely panicking, thinking of, um, what's going to happen with Marco Rubio and President Trump's administration. What kind of deals are going to be made because they just had um, Ismael El Mayo Zampata plead guilty and make a plea deal and give up information that absolutely calls out the officials in the Pan Party, right? The Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa cartel. And the Sinaloa cartel is an FTO, a global FTO, a global TO, okay? And, there is a lot at stake here. I mean, um, and you have El Mayo already putting out signs, right? From his, even though he's in prison, but his team, his faction of the Sinaloa cartel, they are in like a civil war with the Chapitos faction of the Sinaloa cartel. And it is the Governor Mauro Chapitos Pan Party faction of the Sinaloa cartel that's involved in this rotting body trafficking. Let's send a body here to this funeral home. Let's send a body here to this funeral home. Let's send that same body to another funeral home, the same body to another funeral home. So you can't even trust if your loved one dies, um, if how your loved one is going to be handled. It's like a playing hot potato with your loved one's remains, right? In order to get humanitarian aid, for unidentified migrants. Just, oh, here's an unidentified migrant. Here's the same unidentified migrant, but we won't say that. His hair is out of place. So, we'll say it's two different unidentified migrants, and we'll cash in here and we'll cash in here, and then we'll send it over the border and cash it in there. And they're playing hot potato with our loved ones' remains, and also with real migrants that were victims, and even those targeted and tortured, because we have um, confirmation that the Plenitude crematorium that was unlicensed, that the overseer was Governor Maru Campos's mother, Maria Eugenia Galvan, not to be confused. Well, maybe to be confused with Maria Eugenia, who shot Maria Eugenia at the Walmart mass shooting, right? Because who shot Ernest Christopher Grant? Who shot Ernest Christopher Grant? Because you saw, and I'm changing subjects right now. Whoa, I just made a 180 pivot, and I know because there's so much going on. And we're talking about the Walmart mass shooting, and it is not exclusive from the Pan Party. It is not exclusive from what happened at the Rotting Body Narco Plenitude Crematorium, whose owner has a house right beside Beto O'Rourke. This is not exclusive. Walmart is not exclusive from Beto O'Rourke or from what happened, the silencing of our son, right? The targeting of whistleblowers. These are all connected because it's the same group of criminals that is involved in this cartel criminal trafficking fabrication orchestration of a mass shooting, a bloody mass shooting. Can you believe it? And all of the trafficking, all of the pain that they have caused, and all of the fraud of taxpayer money, the fraud of the real estate. Oh my gosh, the fraud in real estate is just out crazy, crazy. And they want you to pay all these real estate high prices, right? They want you to pay all these high taxes, and then they don't even give you honest service. They absolutely are committing fraud. So all of these people that have committed fraud, I believe, that it all points to these billionaires. These billionaires, they need to pay everyone back. They need to pay everyone back and then some, right? And I think that the families where their loved ones, including us, including our family, whose loved ones have been used as hot potato criminal trafficking corpses, the bodies, the remains of our loved ones, um, that absolutely, absolutely we need accountability. In Richard's case, it is 100% no choice. No choice. There has to be accountability because he's a U.S. Army soldier. He's a U.S. Army soldier that's a whistleblower. He's a U.S. Army soldier that is a national hero. And if this can happen if President Trump President Trump has no choice in this, right? He has no choice in this. Marco Rubio has no choice in this when he goes to Mexico and discusses what's going on with the cartels at the border, right? And in Mexico, and with other foreign countries, just absolute. There's so much that Marco Rubio is going to have to talk about. Um, but he has no choice when it comes to Richard Halliday, because if the world sees, and of course Germany sees, and of course Russia sees, and of course Europe is watching this closely, and of course Mexico is watching this closely, and of course the United States is watching this closely. If President Trump and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth fail at getting accountability for our son, this and just like brushing it underneath the carpet or just letting it try to go into, history, which by the letters of President Trump, he is not, right? He is absolutely not. Um, and because he has no choice, he has no choice of the commander in chief, because the message that would send to our veterans, to our service members, to our country, to other countries all around the world, is that the narco cartel are more powerful than the United States of America. That's the message that it would send. And that anyone behind the narco cartel uh, is as FTOs, um, anyone behind them are also way more powerful than the United States, and they could absolutely do what they want with us. Absolutely come into our country, invade our country, do whatever they want to our soldiers, do whatever they want at the border, do whatever they want with human remains, humanitarian crisis left and right, hundreds of thousands of children being trafficked through Fort Bliss, that they could absolutely, take us over. That's the message. This is a national security issue at the total top, the total top of any kind of national security concern. It is the survival of the United States. I, because there is even more that we're not at liberty to tell you that is going on. And so this is why President Trump at this time, before Marco Rubio goes and speaks to President Scheinbaum of Mexico, um, why he sent us not one but two letters on August 6th and then one on August 7th. I can't even tell you the power of that, and him not just complimenting Richard, but absolutely turning him into a national hero, an example for every veteran, an example for every service member. That's what he just did in that letter. He made Richard a hero and an example to be admired, to be replicated. And so, absolutely, his intention was made very clear that he is not letting this slide. And that is why you saw just a couple days ago a show, a a, a push and false narrative again. And that's my opinion, that that's a false narrative. Maybe there's going to be an investigation into the Senate activities. And then, it just looks so bad because they were singing the Mexican national anthem. And then all of a sudden they come in and start pushing each other around and have this little altercation, right? This altercation. Uh, they had a brawl. They had a brawl on the Senate floor in Mexico. You know, and it, and then these allegations afterwards, it sounded like I was listening to like Lilani Hart, or others that really are the upside down narratives. Well, Bob Moore, it makes me okay. This is Bob Moore speaking here, so let me just turn everything upside down because he's such a liar and he's so biased and he says the opposite of whatever is true. So yeah, It's been really very, very exciting. But that's not what we really wanted to talk about today, right? Today on Labor Day, we wanted to uh, you know, enjoy the holiday, right? And enjoy thinking about work, 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 right? Work, work, work. Aspire, aspire, aspire. And so, um, what came in, what came in, people that get their wealth. Wealth is, you can work hard for wealth, right? You can work very hard for wealth. You can inherit wealth, right? Or you can steal it. Steal it. Get uh, get it by committing fraud, being manipulative, um, being dishonest. Uh, and so that leads us back to DPS uh, Sanchez, right? The director, the district DPS director for the Western District, the regional director for the Western District of the Department of Public Safety, and that he was caught in a frisky business out in the parking lot in public, wearing his full DPS gear and everything that means, with his DPS taxpayer funded vehicle, and and doing frisky business, and then you have the uh trooper Patrick Brookshire saying, "Oh gosh, you can't handle him doing some frisky business out in the out in the parking lot in public. You can't handle that. I mean, come on, come on. No, I can't handle that. Nope, nope, I can't handle that because it's illegal. You want all of our DPS, uh, all of our Texas Rangers out doing frisky business on taxpayer dime? Troopers doing frisky business out in parking lots on taxpayer dime? When you have cartel running mad over the border back and forth with the dead bodies, cashing in on them, absolutely doing the most terrible crime against these families, including our family, trafficking children. Because let me tell you, this honey trap, and that's what I call her, a honey trap. Um, Danielle, uh, Amelia, Amala, is it Amelia? Um, Naragway. I just call her honey trap. Just call her honey trap. It's easy. Uh, Nagari is her last name. Anyway, uh, something is so fishy, y'all. So fishy. And I have it right here. I had to write down notes on this one. I try to do everything by heart, but I had to write down notes because it is so big. It is so big. Okay, so this honey trap person is caught in doing this frisky business, upper dress, in the parking lot, and with the DPS, not any DPS, a director, the regional director for the Western District for the front door of the United States. You have to understand that this is the front door of the United States, where you have Fort Bliss, where you have White Sands Missile Range. It wasn't an accident that, um, what's his name? The guy with the island. Oh, Anyway, that he had his ranch, Zorro Ranch, it'll come to me, Zorro Ranch, right there, bordering White Sands Missile Range, airspace, restricted airspace, right? So he could go, they could traffic through the air. He had his own landing strip. I mean, look, Director Sanchez is not just any director of the Department of Public Safety. He has a big, big job. He has the military, our largest by land military base right there in his district. He has the front door of the United States right there in his district. He has a FTO problem right there in his district. He has hundreds of thousands of children being trafficked through Fort Bliss uh, as a problem. He has El Mayo being landing right there in El Paso, being arrested, being that was a trap too. That was a trap right there in his district. El Chop. He has Fast and Furious. The history of Fast and Furious that really, really was never solved right there in his district. He has um, his district borders on Mexico, which is a narco state. A narco state. I think that um, frisky business um, needs to be very, very careful. And who he does the frisky business with, he needs to vet very, very carefully because there is a lot of spies, a lot of counterintelligence agents and operatives, a lot of counterintelligence agents and operatives. And they don't want to go through FOIA requests. They don't want to go through the hacking and leave uh, the uh, the address path or the evidence there, that the trail. They don't want to do that. They like to do it through pillow talk. They like to do it through, uh, you know, uh, frisky business. And this is, gone on through history. And so when you are somebody as important as Director Sanchez, meaning he's important because he has access to all of the ongoing investigations behind the scenes of the front door of the United States, our national security, of Fort Bliss, our national security, of White Sands, our national security, even of Zorro Ranch, right? Knowing what's going on. Um, uh, in Richard's case, in the Walmart case, in the Walmart um, fraudulent distribution of the victims' funds that was over $12 million. He knows what's going on there. He knows these cases. He knows the Plenitude Crematorium case that includes El Paso and Fort Bliss mortuary operations through the funeral homes that are transnational funeral homes like Purchase Funeral Home that's connected to Martin Funeral Homes that services Fort Bliss all the time. And he knows that the major that was overseeing mortuary operations for Fort Bliss was the brother of the prime suspect that confessed to. He knows, he has the report that um, that the evidence has Tavita Nusa confessing to hurting Richard. And his very brother is over mortuary affairs, and we still have no body of our son. So, even though we have a designation of his death, we have the determination of in the line of duty that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. We have now the distinguished um, proof that Richard, from the White House, from the president, that Richard is a national hero, that he uh, deserves the respect of everyone in our nation. That he did the right thing, that his record is sparkling. I've said this over and over again because over 5 years of investigating, and I'm no Lalani Hart. I'm not going to put lipstick on a pig. My son's record is sparkling, and he is a national hero. And I mean that when I say it, and we have the evidence to prove it when I say it. And her son, Dallas Hart, who's the prime suspect of uh, of Richard's murder case, needs to be arrested, and she needs to be arrested, and Tavita Nusa needs to be arrested, and Solomon Nusa, the major of mortuary operations, um, that is absolutely connected to the uh, scandal of Plenitude Crematorium. So, and okay, so I made it very, very clear how important DPS Sanchez is, and this female, um, this HoneyTrap, she has a whole fleet of cars. She owns a whole fleet of cars. Does she own a car business? We need to know because it's way over $1 million worth of vehicles. She has a whole fleet, and a, a huge host of them, I would say just about half of them, are disability benefit plates. Disability benefit plates, the DV plates, they are not meant to be put on a fleet of vehicles. No, that's not what that's for. So, this frisky business, HoneyTrap, she's a disabled veteran. Lalani Hart, 100% disabled veteran. Kyle Eswick, disabled veteran. There seems to be a payoff of a quid pro quo for services rendered to be benefited with disabled veteran. It needs to be investigated. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. And who was in charge of IDES Pablo in the Veterans Administration? The prime suspect of the prime suspects' father, James Courtney Hart. James Courtney Hart. And that would include death benefits. So this needs to be investigated. And I'm just going to list off some of her cars because I think it's very, very important. Dodge Caravan Sport, BMW 3 Series 328i, a 2019 purple Lamborghini. So 2019 purple Lamborghini, Huracan, 2021 Jeep Wrangler, 2022 Tesla four-door wagon, a 2010 Mercedes GLK, Mercedes AMG Coupe, a 2019 Mercedes G-Wagon, an Audi RA8, an Audi R8. I think it's an SUV. Yeah. A 2021 green Dodge Challenger. They have something with these green Chargers and green Challengers, right? 2021 green Challenger, Dodge Challenger. A 2015 F-150, right? A Ford truck. 2014 Dodge Ram, right? Mercedes E-Class. And it goes on. It goes on and on. Half of those have DV license plates, I mean. You know, really? That is, and she is doing frisky business in a parking lot with Director Sanchez, and she's not a honey trap. Couldn't be a honey trap. No, couldn't want to do pillow talk. Couldn't want to know what's going on with Richard's file, with the Walmart case, with the distribution of the fraudulent distribution of the Walmart mass shooting victims funds. She wouldn't want to know about that. She wouldn't want to know about what's going on, in cases. No, no, she's too busy trying out every day, driving a different vehicle, right? Yeah, and what does she do? Well, she sells she's real estate. She sells houses that are, if she's lucky on her lucky day, she'll sell a house for 100,000, but she has a Lamborghini, a purple Lamborghini in there. 2019, what are they worth? They're 300,000 more? Um with a host of other vehicles that are it's a fleet. It's a fleet worth way over $1 million. Over $1 million. Um, this is, this has to be investigated. And it's absolutely connected with everything else going on, including Dreams Cabaret, including yes, and if you don't know about that, that's just a strip joint. The strip joint, and of course we have confirmation that these children that were being trafficked were being delivered from Fort Bliss to strip joints and to empty lots. Well, Dreams Cabaret has an empty lot right beside it. It also has the Texas Department of Transportation right beside it. It also has the FedEx hub right beside it. Yeah, yeah. This is this needs to be investigated. And it is not a coincidence with A&R Chavira Auto Group, being absolutely connected to Manny Chavira. That is, can't even be debated. It's totally connected. And so, putting this all together seems, like your head spins. But what you need to know is that the problems are coming from one group. One group. And if we don't get accountability, we are going to be sending a message that they can continue to be up to no good, that they can spiral us downward into the deep dark where we're going to be gnashing our teeth, right? But do I believe that that's going to happen? No, I don't. I don't. I've just always been my cup is half full type of person. But really, I've always been my cup runneth over type of person. And because it does. It does. The blessings just come and come and come, and you can say, why you've been put through hell? Yes, we've been put through hell, but for such a time as this, who are we to ask what God calls for us to do and why? And, in our son's case, we absolutely know why. Because look what's been happening in El Paso. I'm getting every day volumes, people wanting help for their daughters, for their brothers, for their sons, for their parents. And so we're working. We just want to let all those people know. And of course, for President Trump, because he was targeted. And we pray for him every day. He was so targeted. Whistleblowers were so targeted. And we pray for them every day. And to pray is to work is to pray. And we work. And on this Labor Day weekend, this Labor Day holiday, we worked because we cannot let this continue to hurt El Paso, hurt our front door, our border, our, and just think of all the people, the families that have been so conned and the bodies of their loved ones in Mexico, in Juarez, and these despicable politicians that absolutely are part of it. And these families suffer. So we're absolutely with them for accountability and to demand that the accountability is worthy of the crimes and stop this kind of evil. And it's so evil. This is a spiritual war. So we just want to thank everyone for coming on, especially during a holiday weekend like this. I know everyone's going to get back to work this coming morning, and we just want to say we love you and thank you so much for all your support. And we will be back. We will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you. Bye-bye.